What is that? Tell us what that kind of gig is like, where you're mixing monitors for. I mean, for anyone. I mean, obviously, Natalie Merchant is a someone with a mostly household name, but especially to those of us who grew up at a certain time, the older household names. Yeah, that's right. Yes, but what? How do you approach a gig like that? That's very different than when someone shows up in the studio to record a record or record a song or something, right? Or is it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was the second tour I've done with her mixing monitors. Actually, it's the only tour that I've ever done mixing monitors. I usually mix front of house. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
And, so I think you met George, our front of house engineer, George Cowan, on this tour. He's been doing front of house for her for many years as well, and I've been mixing with her or working with her for the last few decades.
Yep.
I think I met her first on a 10,000 Maniacs record that I was an assistant engineer on way back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that where can you point to that moment and say this is where the evolution of getting this gig mixing monitors came from?
Yeah.
I mean,
pretty
okay.
much. So that was Blind Man Zoo that she did. They did. At a studio called Dreamland Recording up here in my area, where I was the chief engineer for a bunch of years back in the 80s. So they came in to do the record, and I was the assistant engineer. I was the house engineer on that project. So I got to know her a little bit. I was also a fan at the time, which was great. It was awesome to work with them. But then as years went on, she lived in the area here, and I kind of just knew her to say hello. I would run into her every once in a while, see her at shows. And then cut to about maybe 15 years later, and I was doing sound at one of the local performing arts theaters at one of the colleges here, and she did a solo show there, just piano and vocal. So I took care of that, and again, we kind of reconnected and got to know each other. And she didn't even realize I was dabbling in live sound at the time. I say dabbling because I was dabbling at the time.
Sure. Yeah.
So from that point, I think I did a couple of one-offs with her, and then the next thing I knew is I was getting a call from her manager that she's touring a new record, and they wanted to know if I was interested in mixing monitors for her, because George was taking care of front of house for that.
Yep.
And the honest story is they couldn't meet my price, so
okay,
I couldn't do it. I said, I really can't do it for you guys. I would love to. This is through her manager. And they got someone else, and about 3 weeks into the tour, I get a call saying, Dave, we kind of really want you on the tour. They were not having a good time, so it made me look great.
Sure. It's always great when you can come. That's part of why I like being a sub sometimes, is you're coming in to save people, right? Like they need you. So just by appearing in the building, breathing, you are already like, your stock is way high. Now you have the opportunity to lower it at that point, but
it's true. It's true.
You better come prepared. Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, if you know you can deliver, they are rooting for your success in a huge way, right? They've in fact banked on your success. So they're not looking for you to fail. You of course can choose to, or not choose to and still fail. But that's what I love about being a sub, is you're like Superman. You come in and
it's a great position to be in. It's also stressful because you really have to live up to what's
you got to deliver.
You.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You always have to be performing.
I like this. That's you're not wrong. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I was fortunate with that, and I was in a good position with that. And I remember walking into I had to go. I forget where it was, Denver or DC or something. I went to go see the show just to learn it before I actually was able to start on it. And I walked.
There's advice already here, folks. Prepare.
Exactly.
We say always be performing. The Boy Scouts have their version. Always be prepared. It helps to be prepared before you perform. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But when I walked in, and like you said, when you walk in the room in the building, you're in that position, and she saw me and she basically just said, "I'm so happy to see you right now. I'm so happy you're here."
Great.
So it felt great right then, and it turned out to be a really good rest of the tour. I definitely I did a great job for them, I'm happy to say, And from that point on, I kept working with her. So I did. She only has done 2 large scale tours in 12 years. I think it was her last major record she put out was that tour that I just mentioned, and she took a little bit of a hiatus and reissued Tiger Lily, I believe, at one point, and then just put out this latest one, Keep Your Courage, which is a beautiful record. If anyone wants to listen to it, it's incredible, and that's what we've been touring. So anyway. A lot of things in one-offs with her over the years in between those 2 tours, but anyway, that's a long sort of answer to your question. But as far as how to approach it, I already came into the gig with the experience of knowing what she likes to hear and what the band would generally like to hear.